Hey, good evening, everyone. You got him. Excuse me, guys. Neil the Deal here at talkinfight.com. And we're going to do something we've never done before. I do my shows Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But Monday of this week, we had a major snowstorm here in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And due to technical difficulties, we were unable to broadcast on Monday. So here we are on a Thursday doing our Monday boxing talk show, the Neil the Deal boxing talk show. And it's great to have you out, guys. Thanks again for coming out. Hopefully, you've seen a little thing on Facebook or here or there, Twitch, saying what had happened on Monday. And again, thanks for tuning in on Monday, but there was just nothing we could do. So here we are. We're going to talk about the weekend in boxing last weekend and the up and coming fight that I'm going to be dealing with this weekend. One that I think you guys would really enjoy and be able to watch. And it's a really really good fight coming up this weekend. So before I go any further into anything, I'd like to just mention to everybody. I'd like to thank everybody for all the support, the shares, the likes, all the great stuff. The subscriptions have been really going up high, and the shares have been fantastic. So keep on sharing. This is our mainstay right here, boxing. This is what we do at talkinfight.com. We are expanding a little bit into some of the other sports, so hopefully you guys will enjoy my other shows as well. But we started off with boxing, and that's my pretty much my number one forte here. So let's get right into it. I'd like to say again, uh, just to let everybody know out there in Talking Fight Land and all the Neil the Deal show fans, we were given an award about a week or two ago. We were as talkinfight.com, which is this is fantastic, and I really want to thank you guys for all the support because without you, this wouldn't have happened. But we were named in the top 30 best boxing podcasts and websites in the world. Okay, top 30. So all two thumbs up to the world that recognized us here at talkinfight.com, which is you guys, the fans, the people that subscribe and check us out. Punch that notification bell, get a notification of our shows. All the hosts are doing a great job. I want to thank them as well. The producers, everybody behind the scenes, fantastic stuff, guys. Keep it up. Thanks a lot. And like I said, top 30 that in the world, that's an impressive thing. So congratulations to all the guys here and gals here at Talk and Fight. Thanks for all the support that you give me on my shows. So let's get into what's going on. Let's do it and get her done. So last weekend, well, the show before this, we talked about the big fight coming up last weekend, and that was Joe Smith Jr. versus Steve Gaffard. And I was telling you guys, watch this fight. Joe Smith Jr. is a hell of a talent. He's a very charismatic individual. I really like him. He seems down to earth. He seems very, he's proper. He's polite. And I really like Joe Smith Jr. This was his first title defense, and I was thoroughly impressed by his display last weekend, and it was on Saturday night, and it was a great fight. So we're gonna go over the logistics of the fight and everything else, and I'll give you my opinion of what I saw. You're more than welcome to go online. The fight is out there: Joe Smith Jr. versus Steve Gaffard. That was for Smith's WBO light heavyweight world title, and it was a hell of a fight. So we'll start it off here. That would be a Bob Arum top rank production presented that fight, Joe Smith Jr. versus Steve Gaffard. All right. It was a hell of a fight. Right from the beginning, it was never in doubt. You could almost tell right from round one that that this was going to be a bit of a like. I did give Steve Gaffard a chance in this fight. I mean, it is boxing, and he does have a decent record. Obviously, he was at before the fight. He was training with one of the other world champions. One of my favorite guys we've talked about, and I really like him, is Artur Beterbiev. All right, so he was training with Mr. Beterbiev. I'm assuming in Montreal, maybe. I'm not exactly sure, but he had a game plan, Gaffard. I'll tell you that. So first, I would say 2, 3, 4 rounds. Joe Smith come out as he normally does, heavy-handed. took control of the fight right away. But Gaffard, for the first, I would say, 4 or 5 rounds, held his own. He literally did hold his own. He had some kind of a game plan, you could tell. And I think it had to do with trying to wear out Joe Smith Jr., kind of the rope a dope style, Ali Foreman thing. Not as, not exactly, but it was basically, it reminded me a little bit of that because he was taking a lot of shots, but he was blocking basically 90% of them for the first few rounds. Of course, he had a good jab. He was trying to keep Joe off, but Joe's a pretty, how do I say, relentless type of fighter. He comes right at you, and he's not scared to throw the leather hard. And it was apparent that he was trying to take him out early. There was no doubt about it in my mind. But Gaffard was able to kind of back up, take the punches that he had to take, and he was still throwing punches back. So he was in the fight like really well up until I would say the fourth, fifth round. Then things kind of changed. Uh, the pressure got too much for him. Joe Smith Jr. was backing him up. He had a great jab at that point too. He was using his jab and getting right inside and throwing uppercuts, straight rights. We're talking full on punches. Like these are no fluffy punches. These are one punch knockout punches, and he was throwing haymakers. And his footwork, I noticed his footwork has got better. His balance looked better to me. He looked more, how do I say, well-rounded. He became a little more of a well-rounded fighter instead of just a kind of a brawler. Um, and I was really impressed with his performance. And take nothing away from Steve Gaffard. He had a good game plan, but Joe Smith Jr. was just the better man that night. And in the end, the ninth round, Joe Smith Jr. TKO in the ninth round. Gaffard basically he couldn't respond. He was just getting flurries, like basically uncontested punches is what I would call them. He was up against the ropes, and Smith was just leaning on him, backing up, and just firing massive, massive bombs. And Gaffard was trying to deflect them or stop them, but eventually it just wore him down. Joe Smith Jr. wore him down through the body, head. He did a lot of body work, and it showed in the ninth round. He kneeled. He went down on the canvas, kneeled on one knee, but you could tell that he was basically out at that point. He knew that he had given it what he had. Right. He hadn't ever gone past the eighth round in his career, so he made it to the ninth, which is that's a personal best, I guess, for him. And the corner, his corner did throw in the towel. So, I mean, they threw in the towel knowing that he was not getting up to defend himself properly. So it was a good stoppage. The ref was a good stoppage, and I thought it was a great fight overall. A lot of them don't go the distance, and it was pretty competitive. But in the end, Joe Smith Jr. he just overpowered him, and he's looking at bigger and better fights this year. I guess it was a bit of a tune-up because it's his first title defense. So he picked a really hard opponent. I'll give you that, Joe. Good, like he's no pushover, and anything can happen. But Joe showed the world that he's deserving of having the title right now, and possibly adding titles going farther into the year this year. So basically, the way I look at it, and I think they talked a little bit about it in the after fight talk amongst the fighters and the fighter Joe Smith Jr. and the announcer of the time. And Artur Beterbiev, he is one of the champions, and we also have Dmitry Bivol, who is one of the other champions with the other belt. Now, Joe Smith Jr. has a loss on his record, and that was to Dmitry Bivol. All right, so he's definitely said that he's interested in actually having a rematch against Bivol, which would be title for title. I think that's a good possibility that could happen. And again, with Artur Beterbiev from Canada, my boy from Montreal. I love you, Artur. You're the man. He's going to have a chance probably to fight him at some point because they're going to unify that division, the light heavyweight division. So eventually, they're all going to have to fight against each other because they're the ones with the belts. So the other thing that's been kicking around uh, that I've had my ear to the ground and heard a little bit about is that Canelo. Okay, apparently Canelo is seriously considering staying at 175, and that would be probably the big payday for Joe Smith Jr. So I don't know if he goes like I don't know if you go and fight Canelo right away or you fight one of these other champions, different belt holders. Better be Evan Bivol. I don't know, but apparently Canelo is in the mix, and that would be a big fight, Joe Smith Jr. and Canelo. So that again is another thing that could happen later this year. One of those three is going to happen. So let's just see what Bob Arum at Top Rank decides, or whatever happens on that level, and those guys will figure it out. And any way you slice it, the fights this year coming up, guys, I'm telling you, they are going to be amazing. There are so many titles that are going to be switching hands, guys retaining titles, title fights every week. It's a really exciting year, and I'm really looking forward to having you guys here at talkinfight.com with me, Neil the Deal, and the rest of the crew through the rest of this year. I got a lot of stuff up my sleeve. We just starting out, so let's move on to that. So there you go. That's the fight. That's the way I saw it. Joe Smith Jr. Impressive victory, and looking forward to the next one, Joe. Keep it up. Keep up the good fighting, bro. Keep it up. Boom. All right. So that's this week's fights. Let's talk about what's happening this week. All right. So January 22nd. This is the fight we're going to talk about. This is the fight I suggested you all look at home, and it's going to be a hell of a fight, a really good one. And these two are I've talked about both of them, and I like both of them. And this is a really hard one, but we'll go through the fight and give a little prediction at the end, and then we'll see what you think and see how it goes. I mean, you can always bet boxing, which I do. You can bet MMA, which I do. I don't like MMA, but sometimes I watch a little bit, but it's glorified street fighting, so whatever, right? All right. So January 22nd, 2022, Atlantic City, USA. Al Heyman's PBC presents Gary Russell Jr. Gary Russell Jr. versus Mark Magsayo. Mark Magsayo. Well, that's for the WBC featherweight title, which Gary Russell Jr. has had for many years now. I believe it could be something in the range of 6 or 7 years. He's been the champion, the WBC champion, and Gary Russell Jr. is a fantastic talent. He probably, guys, has the fastest hands in all of boxing. All right. So when you're watching this fight, guys, this is the one to watch. Check out the hand speed on Gary Russell Jr. It is blazing. So this is one of the reasons why he's been able to retain that title for so many years and continues to be at the top of his game even years later, And there's a lot of guys. He's really had a big career. He's basically took on all challenges, everybody, and he's won every fight. Well, basically, you know what I mean? Like since he's got the title, obviously. And like I said, 2015. So yeah, this would be the seventh year. He's had that title, the featherweight WBC featherweight title. He's ranked number one, best active featherweight in the world right now. Uh, he's had a lot of tragedy. The poor guy, Gary. We all go through tragedies, and everybody has a tragedy in their life, and it's terrible and stuff. But just recently, I understand his brother has died. His brother died. His father passed away as well, or he's very sick, almost to pass away soon, or something of this sort. He's not very well. Apparently, I don't think he's passed away, but this might be the last fight or something of that sort that his dad will be able to attend. I really don't know much more about it, but I just want to say my condolences about your brother, and hopefully your dad feels a lot better and gets better, or, that kind of thing. So this fight should be an interesting one for him, just because of that. So he's probably going to want to do it for his dad and his brother, and it is what it is. It's his family. So. Well, he was born, Gary Russell Jr., born June 5th, 1988. That makes him 33 years old. He was born in Washington, D.C., United States of America. His career started in 2009, and he is presently an active fighter. He's had 32 bouts, of which he has 31 wins, one loss with 18 KOs. All right. And the one loss that he had was June 21st, 2014, which was before he won the title, obviously. And he lost to the world's best pound for pound guy, other than Canelo, probably is ranked just one ahead of this guy, and that's Lomachenko. So he did lose to Lomachenko, but Lomachenko is Lomachenko, and he is a real tough one to beat, as we all know. He's an unbelievable talent, Vasily Lomachenko. So that's good. You lose to that caliber of a guy, and that's it. And that was what, 8 years ago? He hasn't lost in 8 years, 7.5 years. So Gary Russell Jr. is a huge talent. So let's move on to Mark Magsayo. Well, Mark is trained by Manny Pacquiao. He is a Philippine fighter. I've talked about Mark on previous shows. I really like Mark's style. We had a segment, I believe, about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, in the top 5 best up and coming Filipino fighters. And I got a lot of views out of the Philippines, guys. In the Philippines, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. You've really stepped up here and watched the Neil the Deal show. This boxing, really, you guys are awesome. Manny Pacquiao, I understand, is soon to be president of the country, or he's running to be president of the country. I don't see any reason why he shouldn't be. He's probably the front runner, and he deserves it. He recently retired, as we all know, to continue a career in politics, and he's definitely the man for the job. So Manny Pacquiao still is helping out boxers, which I'm sure he always will do, even when he's the president. You know what I mean? And this is one of his guys, Mark Magsayo. So you got him in your corner, man. We all know who Manny is. So he's really stepped it up, and he's said that Magsayo is improved immensely, and he's looking amazing. So he's a very impressive guy, Magsayo. I mean, nobody really knows much about him because it's just that guy. But I talked about him, guys, and you can check that episode out in the archives on the Neil the Deal show, Mark Magsayo. And I told you back then, one of these days, this guy's going to get a world title shot. Well, guess what? This is it. He got a world title shot, first one. So he was born June 22nd, 1995. That makes him 26 years old. He was born in Tagbilaran City, Philippines. All right. He's ranked the number 5th best featherweight in the world right now. And he holds the WBO International Featherweight title. So he is a title holder. And, he's going for a world title, a big one, against Gary Russell Jr. this weekend. So, guys, check out this fight. It's going to be amazing. So, he's got 23 bouts total in his career, and he has 23 wins, guys. So he is undefeated, Mark Magsayo, undefeated fighter. He's got 16 knockouts of those 23 fights. And like I said, this is going to be a really good fight. I don't foresee any early stoppage. I think it's going to go quite far into the fight. Possibly into the championship rounds, and it could go all the way. It could go all the way, if you know what I mean. So, a little bit about Mark. He started at 8 years old, boxing. He had over 200 amateur bouts in the Philippines. He's a 4-time boxing champion of the Philippines from the ABA, right? It's we talked about it on a couple of episodes in regards to how they do it in the Philippines, and it's a big it's like a sports festival for youth, and it's fantastic. It's sponsored by the government, and they do all the sports. So I kind of like that concept, and I had never heard of it before. So good on you over there in the Philippines. It seems like a really good way to bring all the sports together, bring all the youth together, and have a big festival in regards to that, and give out medals, I'm sure, trophies or whatever to the kids that end up, gold, silver, bronze, whatever it may be. So this fight, I'm telling you right now, is going to be really, really good. So get everything organized, get the kids, in bed, I guess, because this fight starts at 9, all right, on Saturday night. I believe it's on Showtime Plus or Showtime. Al Heyman, right? PBC is presenting it, and I believe it starts at 9. There are four undercard fights, and then the title fight, the Mag Sale fight with Gary Russell Jr. And that apparently will start around 11 o'clock. So hopefully the kids are in bed and blah blah blah, and you guys can just cuddle up on the couch and do whatever you guys are doing and check out a good fight. All right, yeah, forget it. All right, so I hope you guys do have time to check the fight. I will definitely be watching the fight, and I'm really looking forward to talking about it next week. We're gonna do the show again on Monday, 8 p.m. Talkinfight.com live. Neil the Deal boxing/boxing, and I hope you're going to be there because we'll go over it. Now, I just want to give my prediction here. I guess you would call it. Uh, I'm gonna honestly, I really like Mark Magsayo. If there's a guy out there that will have the shot to take that title from Mr. Russell, it probably could be Mark. But I'm going to go with Gary Russell Jr. in this one. 11th round TKO is going to be what I'm predicting. 11th round TKO. Both these guys are amazing. So that's my prediction. You guys want to lay a little ding on that? You can pick a different round. I don't know, just pick a winner, money line, either one. I mean, I haven't even looked at the odds or anything, but I know that definitely Russell's going to be favored, and Gary Russell Jr. will be Mark Magsayo will be the underdog. So maybe lay some money on the underdog. It's up to you guys. I like Gary. I think that he's got a lot going right now, and there's a couple of fights that he's probably eyeing after this one. But this is a really big fight for him. So check it out. Thanks for coming out tonight, guys. Watching Neil the Deal Boxing at talkinfight.com. As I always say, share, 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 like, subscribe, and punch that notification bell if you need to know when I'm on, or any of the other guys, Mike Orr at 4. Boxing news, any of the other shows we got here at talkandfight.com. So just wind up. We got an idea. Boom! Hit that notification, punch her hard, and we'll be right back at you as soon as we're on. You'll get notified and you can watch us check it out. So have yourselves a great evening. I'm certainly having a great day. Always, as we always say here at the Neil the Deal Show, get better, not bitter. And we're getting better all the time. So good luck to you. Have yourselves a good weekend. We'll be talking to you on Friday, tomorrow night, actually. We'll be talking to you tomorrow night. I will be doing, at talkandfight.com, I will be doing my NHL show. And I got some stuff going on in the NHL. We're slowly creeping closer and closer to the playoffs. So we'll talk about that more tomorrow. 8:30, little bit of a time change. It is what the show is, but it's an 8:30 start. That's when we drop the puck, and hope to see you there. Thanks a lot for coming again. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.